Hello everyone, DrSnoop here, and on today's episode of Why Is My Voice So Deep, we'll be having a look at this. So what this is a DSi, obviously. Come on, how could you not know this is a DSi? But, it has a bit of an issue. Two issues to be exact. So I bought this back in 2018, the cheapest DSi, or DS on Amazon. Not sure why I got it off of Amazon, but yeah. Well, it worked fine for a little while, except I noticed that the triggers were really hard to push down. In fact, there's not even a click to this one. Which, there used to be somewhat of a click, but, let's just say my 2018 repair techniques aren't exactly the finest, and I ended up completely breaking the triggers. So basically, this thing has been completely useless for playing most everything. And it stayed like this. With most of the screws gone from the bottom cover, I had to basically just snap it back together. Look at that. Okay, I lost all the screws. I was not good at repairing things back then. I'm still not, but let's give it another shot. So, essentially what happened is I was following this guide on a forum post made like in a century ago, where somebody suggested taking the original trigger plastic and then hot gluing a metal pin to push down harder on the triggers. Well, yeah, don't do that. That's actually a terrifically bad idea, because in the process, I essentially just killed the buttons even worse. So, buttons are essentially completely done. So, what we're going to be doing today is fixing this. Like, well, how do you fix that? And the answer is quite simple. The answer. This is a DS. You can't quite see. Okay, now you can see. This thing is in terrible condition. And so are these. So is this glove. But it is in absolutely terrible condition. Somebody had stickers on this. In person, it looks much worse in person. It looks like this thing has been sitting in standing water for like 5 years. But it was the cheapest DS. Buy it now on eBay, because I lack the patience to see an auction through. So I got it. And the triggers work, which is the one thing I care about, because you might notice on this DS, but on this one, alright, so I guess this is like the one thing I've ever bought in my entire life on eBay that has been listed for parts that I am actually going to use for parts. Which, again, under this light and through the camera, it doesn't look bad. But in person, it looks absolutely disgusting. Which, in the description, they said they attempted to clean it, but it's impossible that the plastic is stained this bad. It can't be stained this bad. At least I'm hoping. So, before we end up my plan is basically just to switch the ribbon cable and also both triggers into this. Even though this one is still here, I think it'd look better if they matched. Let's get this out of here. We don't need it. You know, I wonder if the cartridge slot actually. Yeah, okay. This is the cheapest DS on Amazon at the time. This is the cheapest DS on eBay at the time. And together, using both the power of Amazon and eBay, we will have a very bad DS that hopefully works. Before we start, I figured it would be a good idea to see if this at least powers on. I got it out of the box, I opened up the lid, and I had a look, and that's all I've done so far. I haven't actually tried to turn it on. I was waiting to get the camera going. So, and it's completely flat. If I press the power button, yeah, there's nothing left in here. As it should be, because apparently the person who sold this doesn't have a charger to test it. But luckily, they have This is a DS, so the batteries are rechargeable and also the same. So, without further ado, let's take the battery out of here and put it in there. So, the first time I've ever turned this on, let's... What is that? Huh. Okay, so there are... This was never erased. Now let's see if the camera works. I should do the back-facing one first. So the triggers need to be cleaned, that's the thing. Yeah, so both triggers don't work, which is fine. That just means they need to be cleaned. They click, though, which is the important part. So, no DSi wear. Very interesting. Let's have a look. So as we can see, there's DSi sound, system settings, DSi camera, DSi shop, which is closed, download play, flip notes, yeah, that's normal, photo clock. My DSi doesn't have that. It's interesting. Oh, what's that? Oh, okay, so I guess this does have some DSi wear on it, I believe is the correct term. Which, math games, interesting. Well, this works. I didn't think it would. So let's see how well it cleans up. You know, maybe I can just fix the triggers on this and not switch the shells at all. So, in order to clean this, we're going to need some Bitcoin juice. This just in case. And also a little bit of this. So, let's start the cleaning montage. Oh, wait. Hang on. Huh. Let me check my schedule. Yeah, I'm gonna be a bit busy, so let's not do that. This DSi cleaned up in a way I didn't know was possible. I scrubbed it and I scrubbed it with the isopropyl alcohol. It didn't take any of it off. But as soon as I got at it with the magic eraser, it is brand new looking. Okay, I mean there's a. It looks like somebody dropped it there. Okay, that's fine. The bottom, it's the same. It looked like somebody maybe dropped it. Okay, there's a couple marks on the plastic, but the parts DSi looks better than the DSi it's supposed to go to. So I went ahead and off camera, I just popped the bottom off. There are no screws holding it together, so I just casually ripped the bottom off. Just to see how hard it would be just to switch the motherboard. Because, look, I am seeing what kind of condition this DSi is in now. I don't want to Frankenstein it that much. And I don't think the actual shell color is linked to the motherboard at all. So, this is the Wi-Fi module for those curious. Well, my next thought is, okay, so the triggers, they're fine. What I need to do is I just need to clean them so that they work again. But the shell on this DSi is better than the one I am taking it from. But I prefer the white anyway. So, my thought is I'm basically just going to take this motherboard and put it in this DSi. The reason I don't want to just use the board on this is because there's 374 pictures that I did not look at that are all not mine. There are the most latest of which was taken in 2014, and the oldest of which was taken in 2010. I don't want to disturb that because it's history, I guess. And there's also the DSiWare games, which I wouldn't be able to sleep at night knowing that I nuked that stuff, and I don't really want to take it off of it. It's an interesting place to be. So I'm just going to switch this board, which was erased when I got it. There was no pictures or anything. It was initial setup when I got this. So, yeah. And I also jailbroke this. Actually, I should take the SD card out of this. And the other thing I noticed when I was actually taking this, cleaning this, is that the power jack is actually, I don't know if you guys can see that. It's not good, not good. But luckily, that won't be a problem because we might be able to look here and see the power jack is actually part of the board, not parts of the trigger assembly like I initially thought it was. So essentially these are the triggers. This is the SD card slot for storage of things, large things most notably. So this is the battery compartment. There's supposed to be a metal bracket so you can actually screw this thing in there, but I broke it when I took this thing apart. Not a big surprise. So yeah. So the next step, I believe, is taking this DSi apart to see if I can get the triggers working. And then once I get the triggers working, it's gonna see if I can switch the motherboards. So then, yeah. So it'll be a DSi with working triggers and also the wrong motherboard. I don't think shell color is actually bound to the board at all. So the illusion won't break if you go somewhere into settings and it says the color's blue, even though it's a white DSi, obviously. It's sort of like with an iPod. The motherboards, the color is put into them somehow. So yeah, this is basically mint. It's basically mint. Okay, other than that ding and another ding on the other side. It looked like it maybe fell here and then bounced over and hit there, but it's better than that. It's better than that. Cheapest DS on eBay, and all it... I'm just using this for focusing, just ignore that. So, taking a DSi apart is not hard at all. What you need is a screwdriver. And one of these Chinese opening kits, which I got off of, I forgot, but I think it was Amazon. So, the first step is removing the battery cover, which, let's use this same screwdriver. A lot easier, not... I said it was easier, not easy. Okay, so now this is out. Put the battery cover there. And take the battery out. And take all these little tiny screws out off camera, because I'm going to need to bend over this thing. I love that trick. So there are two screws here. There's one screw here. This is the one different one. Don't lose that. Don't get that mixed up with it. Not that it's hard to tell apart. And there's this screw, and then this screw here, and then this screw. And that's all the screws on the bottom of the DS. So the next step is to quite simply start from the back and pull it forward. So now that all the ribbon cables are removed, the next step is to lift it up very gently, like this, and then flip that up, and just pull it out, like so. So this is the DS's motherboard, which will be going into the blue one. Now it's time to take the one out of the blue one, which I'll just do off camera because it's the most nerve-wracking thing I've done in a while. Which, okay, that's not saying too much. And here is the motherboard that will now be going in here. However, before I do that, just because the outside is clean doesn't mean that the inside's clean. So I'm gonna have a good going over. Well, that was absolutely painful. So what you're looking at right now is the blue DSi's motherboard and the white DSi. And the white DSi's motherboard is over here, which I'll then put in the blue DSi as soon as I'm done testing this one. So, this ribbon cable and this ribbon cable are both impossible to put in without a good pair of tweezers. Just, if you're following this at home, which I hope you aren't, if you're following along at home, those are extremely hard. And it's actually easier to put this one in first when it's all flipped over and then put in the one below it. Talking about ribbon cables, of course. So, now that that's all in there, before we fix the triggers, it's a good idea to test to make sure it all still works. Of course, given my track history, or track record. And as soon as I figure out how to get this on. So the next step is then to put in my SD card with all of my special totally legal things into there and plug it in and give it a power on. And it works perfectly. Alright, I mean, I say that as okay, alright, yeah. Flipnote Studio, touchscreen works, buttons work. Still a no-go on the triggers, but we haven't fixed those yet. It's like, I don't know, I just pressed A, and it works perfectly. Alright, so, now it's time to fix the triggers. So now that this is all together, now it's time to tackle this part, which is by far going to be the most interesting. So, the first step. I wonder how many times I've said that in this video. Come to think of it, I've said that quite a lot, haven't I? So, gotta remove this screw. And this screw. And, I think that's it. Just 2 screws, and it should lift off. So y'all didn't notice, but your battery just ran out. So I just charged that up a little bit. So what I did while it was charging is I gave this some more thorough clean. And I figured I should point out some of the bits here. Just in case there is somebody watching this who is doing this yourself. And you know what, I don't know. But there's basically 3 main parts. You've got this piece, which this is something for the battery compartment to screw into. If you don't want your battery compartment to go flapping around, like the blue DSi, like I lost this. This goes in this very tiny corner right over there. So, yeah, and this right here is a pin. It's a hinge pin that goes here to, again, give it something to pivot against, and it goes into this little hole right here. And there's the spring, which goes there and pivots against there. There's this thing, which holds it all down, and then the 2 screws that go in. So, now that this is all apart, and the button is right here, you can hear it click, I'm going to move over there so they don't get moved. So, essentially this button isn't making contact because it's gummed up, obviously. Or not obviously, I don't know. It could be obvious, or it could not be. So, what I've seen most people do is basically get isopropyl alcohol inside of the button. I'm not sure how or why this works, but let's hope it does. So this is basically just a Canon lens cap, and I'm going. That's way too much. But hey, so now I suppose the next step is to just I don't know. Some person uploaded a YouTube video back in like 2012 or something that said this is how you're supposed to do it. Let's hope that did it. I took the other trigger apart. All of its pieces are here. You don't have the same battery compartment square thingy to screw into, obviously, because the battery compartment is there. In order to do the same thing on this side, I'm actually going to need to remove the SD card plastic shield. So, this is fun. I know somebody's watching this who's like, no, that's not how you do it at all. Let's see, what could you possibly be doing? And I'm sure they also have a fake British accent just as bad. Okay, you know, that's actually kind of hard to have one just as bad as mine. Alright, let's pretend that did something and put it all back together. So, the camera works. It's a little, it probably just needs to dry out a little bit, but that's what the camera looks like. Y'all ready for something totally legal? Did I mention that I already had this board jailbroken? I don't think I did. But yeah, it's jailbroken. It's cool, right? Nah, I know something cooler though. Because we have both functioning triggers, you know what that means. Yeah, shell, just exactly what I needed. Thank you, game. Did I just perfectly missed that. I just perfectly missed that. Okay, I'm somehow second now. Stay second if I hit that banana. Oh wait. Okay, third's not bad. Third's not bad. Third could be worse. Oh, okay, yep. The triggers work. The triggers work. And, so does Twilight Menu. Twilight Menu also works. What doesn't work is my, my ability to play. So yeah, I suppose there's not really too much else I can show off, but yeah, this is it entirely working. If you have a DS at home that you're watching this, you have a DSi just like this one, and you don't have functioning triggers, I guess all you need to do is just take the triggers out and dump them in isopropyl alcohol. I never would have guessed that. It doesn't make any logical sense why that would work, but it does, apparently, and it works very well. So yeah. There's not a single time where I clicked it there where it didn't actually trigger properly. So that means it worked. Oh, also, it's connected to the motherboard, so it shouldn't be as much as a surprise, but cartridge slot works. What to do. So, yeah, I guess that's the end of this video. I'm still super impressed of how this actually cleaned up. This I did not expect. I didn't expect this at all. This is basically perfect. Okay, it looks like somebody chewed it there and there, but other than that, you saw how it was in the beginning. To think that this was under all of that is incredible. Now, if only I could get my GBA to clean up just as well. This thing's like yellow on their back and it's kinda ick. Oh, which I should mention, if you were wondering throughout this video why I didn't get a DS Lite. The answer is I already have the GBA front cover decay, and besides I can just stimulate the game, alright? Okay. Anywho. But, yeah, I guess that's really just the end of the video, so, yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. And, oh wait. Still gotta put that one back together, don't I?